picture this. Let me bring you back to little first man who wanted to be a personal trainer. I realized that it was going to take 6 months to become a personal trainer, to get the qualifications and everything. And I sat there and I thought to myself, do you know what? I need money now. I cannot do the qualifications because it's going to take 6 months to do. Then I'm going to be sat there with no money for 6 months, completely struggling. Why would I do that? So I didn't do it. And I said to everybody, there's no point. I might as well just carry on being a laborer, digging holes, using the wheelbarrow, the jackhammer every single day, destroying my body, doing a job that I hate because it was money right now and I needed that money right now. 6 months down the line, I sat there and somebody said to me, you would have been qualified now if you had done the personal training qualification. And I said, yeah, I would have. Shame, actually. Looking back, I probably should have done it. And they said, well, lesson learned. Why don't you go and do the qualification now? And I went, nah, because it's going to take another 6 months. So that's a year. That's the problem so many of you guys are facing. Let's get into it. So there's a biggie line, which is being broke at 30 gives a man chills. Now I'm paraphrasing because I can't say the M word, but this really does sum up how so many of you guys are living. In my opinion, for a lot of you guys, holds very, very true that you're so scared of being broke by 30, this mythical date that exists where you're going to turn a specific age where you need your whole life sorted out, that you are now in a rush. I know where you are right now. I know exactly where you are. You're in your mid-20s, early 20s, and you've got this persisting thought that if you continue, just get rid of that, if you continue at the same rate that you're on, that is only going to get worse every single day. Okay, so you're chasing success, you're chasing a better life. As you're going after it, you're only getting older. And every day that it doesn't happen, it's getting worse. It's almost like you have to do something, but you're putting it off, you're putting it off, you're putting it off. And it gets worse before it gets better. This is what people don't understand. This is what so many guys forget. It gets a lot worse before it gets better because you have to go as far down the rabbit hole as possible until you come out the other side. So there will be a time when you're crawling down that rabbit hole where it's as dark as it can possibly be, where you've gone around about halfway and you think, I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It might be round a corner. It might be so far away that it's just pure darkness around you. But you will be in that situation where it's as dark as it'll ever be. And you're as far away from when you began as you are from where you're going to finish. So you're at this midway point where you're just like, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. You could be 25 years old, you're seeing no sign of success, and you're like, if I have another 2-3 years like this, I could be the guy who's broke at 30. It's becoming a reality every single day. And that scares so many of you guys. And the only way through it is to trust in the process and just to know that at some point it will work, because it's not necessarily the hardship. It's not necessarily the difficulty of trying to do it. It's the fear of the unknown, because I've tested this on so many people. If I said to you guys, guaranteed success at 35, I will make you a billionaire at 35. I can click my fingers and magically you will be a billionaire at 35. Do you want to take the deal? Because from now, you're 21, from now until then, you are going to suffer. It's going to be horrible. 14 years of shit. But you'll be a billionaire at 35 for the rest of your life. Will you take it? I would hazard a guess that every man in the world would say, I'll take that. Sorry to interrupt the video, guys. I'll make this very quick. If you want to join our school community, we have calls like this all the time. This is actually where this video came from. Somebody asked me this question. He's a trainee pilot and he wanted to know, is it worth the journey, etc. And we were able to answer this question for him in thorough. Specifics, thorough. I was on the call for probably 3 hours. When you join the school community, there's a ton more content on there. All of those previous calls are recorded and uploaded, and we do 2 calls per week. So I'd love to see you guys there. It's only £38 per month. I think that's $49. Come and see what we're all about. Now back to the video that you came here to watch. I will take that. That's the difference. When you know it's easier, and that's up to you. That's a part that you control. You have to trust in the process, because here's what so many people do. It's the stick or twist motion, which I need to make a whole video on at some point again. Stick or twist is on this channel from years ago. Stick or twist, I said, do you stay where you're at, or do you ask for another card, you twist, you go again, and you risk it all? This is where you are, okay? Let's say you're 25 years old, you're on this journey, you're like, will I make it, will I not? When that arse falls out, when they don't have bollocks that are big enough to complete the journey, and they listen to all the doubters and they say, do you know what? This sense of being uncomfortable every single day isn't it. I don't want to do this anymore. They drop out. And do you know why they drop out? Because when you drop out, you can go and chase temporary fixes. Okay, you can go and get married. You can have a couple of kids. You can go and get a 9-to-5 job, or you can go and get an easier job, something that you can just immediately get better pay from. There was a time where I worked in finance and I was on minimum wage, 16,000 per year. I don't know if that was minimum or whatnot, but it was so low, it might as well have been. And I saw that I could make 22,000 per year working at Wilkinson's, which is just a store for you Americans where, almost like Target, almost like something like that, a Walmart or whatnot. So I knew that I could work there and make more money, okay? 6,000 more per year. Had I have done that, it would have ruined my CV. It would have ruined everything. Would it have ruined the business? No, because I probably could have focused on it more, but it would have ruined my CV. Now, I got a job in finance after that was paying a lot more, okay? Like 2-3 pay rises later and then a better job, and I was on a significant amount of money, and it allowed me to use that money to reinvest into different things, my supplements, into crypto, and I made a decent amount of money off of that, and it's probably a big reason why I am where I am today. I could have easily copped out and said, it'll be an easier life. It'll be an easier life. I could save a lot more money. I could walk to work. Yeah, it's a shitty job, but I'm going to make a lot more money. It doesn't have the prestige of the title, but I'm going to have 6 grand more and my life's going to be easier. I'm going to offset some of the problems that I currently have immediately. But long term, I probably would have suffered. Because what I learned in that job, the people that I was around and how I evolved as an individual, and sometimes the tougher route is the better route. Even though it takes longer, it's the shorter one. Does that make sense? On paper, if I drew out 2 lines and I showed you the shortcut route is quicker, but then it comes with loads of problems and loads of issues after that, and it ends up being a journey that just doesn't really ever end, where it begins again. It's a loop. It's a straight line, then it's a loop. It's a straight line, and then it's a loop, and it repeats over and over and over again. The longer route goes like this, it goes like that, it goes back, but then eventually it goes there and it stays there, and it just continues in a linear fashion. That's why the longer route is actually the shorter route. The shortcuts, they're not a strategy. It doesn't work. Everybody does this. Everybody's in their 20s thinking, how do I shortcut it? How do I do it quickly? I'm feeling as though I'm behind in life. I feel as though things aren't going well for me. That's because you're in the game. Do you not understand that? You're in the game. That's why you feel that way. It doesn't happen quickly. It doesn't happen instantly. You are in the middle of it. When you're in the middle of it, you can't see the beginning or the end. If you ran into the woods and you knew you were coming out the other side and you're like, oh, it's dark and I'm lost. Yeah, but you can't see the start anymore. You don't know where you came from. You just got to keep going in that direction blindly, just hoping that eventually you'll see something, because it can't go bad forever. Do you know what I mean? Like if I were to flip a coin and I wanted heads and I got tails 50 times in a row, I wouldn't be like, I'm never going to get heads. I'd be like, this is crazy, this is an anomaly, but like there is a 50-50 chance every time, so it can't be that crazy. Flip it again, turn it over, tails. At some point you got to get tails. If you're rolling the dice, at some point you got to get the number that you're looking for. If you turn over a card, at some point it has to be the card that you're looking for. It has to be a decent card. If you're getting dealt hands over and over and over, at some point you're going to get a decent hand of cards. It just has to happen. It's just not going to happen instantly. It doesn't happen for anybody instantly. Even a sports athlete, even like an actor and stuff like that, they started when they were like 3-4 years old. That's the difference. So many of you are seeing like a superstar in sports, or you're seeing like a famous rapper or like an actor, like a Tom Holland, and be like, God, he's only this age and he's already worth X. He's already played Spider-Man 5-6 times. Yeah, but actors, they go to like child film school when they're like 3-4 years old. They start acting from a young age. He's been doing this for like 24, 25 years. Have you been in your 9 to 5 job for 25 years? Have you been running your business for 25 years? No, that's the difference. Your journey's different. It takes a lot longer. It's a different timeline. It just feels like it's taking forever and it feels pointless because you're actually getting older. Before a certain age, you're just getting better. Whereas you start thinking to yourself, I'm going to be old soon. I've seen my first grey hair. My hairline's receding. So now I'm going to be the broke guy with, look, this is normal. This is normal life. What other choice do you have? Like I said, you're halfway down the rabbit hole. You have to see it out to the end. You have to see if there's light at the end of the tunnel. It has to lead somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might even divert, you might take a different direction, but it has to lead somewhere. Because you can always go back. You can always go back, but here's the thing, you don't want to. And the pain of regret hurts so much more than the pain of just going through a little bit of like discomfort for a few years and just enjoying the journey. Because truth be told, when I look back, I enjoy every single day of the journey. It feels completely different to how it did at the time. When you're suffering, you look back a few years later and you're like, actually, do you know what? They were the best days of my life. I don't know why. I don't know why it works like that. But I promise you guys, if you quit now, you'll be disappointed forever. Something else I want to talk about that often gets forgotten is the progression bias. The progression bias is thinking what you want right now is what you'll want forever. And the reason you're in such a rush is because there's things that you want right now. Okay. And I've been on record as saying, if something motivates you right now, use it. Okay. If you want the lime green Lamborghini and you're 21 years old and that allows you to get to $1 million a year. And then when you get there, you realize you don't want that anymore. How is that a loss? That's something that motivated you to get to a higher level in life. That to me is a win. But when you're on your journey and you're not making that money, you need to remember where you're going to end up. You need to remember who you're going to be. And you're in a rush right now because there's things that you want right now. You're thinking, okay, I'm 25. There's a woman who's 21. I want her in my life now before some other guy takes her. There will always be women in the world. That's not a problem. There will always be money in the world. There is always opportunities. There is always a window of opportunity. An industry that looks as though it's extinct has opportunities still within it. There's still a pivot point where you can go somewhere else. The dream is never dead. You can always find a way to relive it, to go through it again, to find another route out. There is always an escape route no matter what you are doing. And with the progression bias, what you think you want right now won't be what you want in 10 years' time. So what you're currently working on, what you're currently chasing, I want to be young. I understand this because it went through my head too. You're like, I want to be young. I want to be in my 20s, rich, in shape, with a nice car. I want to feel it all. I want to experience it all. Then what happens is you get to around about, you'll break into your 30s and you'll go, I want a home. I want solidity. I want castles, like metaphorically. I want my kingdom. I want to build something global. I want to have my life set up in multiple areas of the world. I want to be that guy. Do you know what I mean? And you think to yourself, I want one woman to share it with, and I want kids. So you want to find the right woman and you want kids to build around, to do it all for, to build that empire with. But you don't know that at the time. So your motivation is quick. A lot of materialistic things are quick. I need money now because I need a Rolex. I know a guy that's making 200K per year. I'm only doing 50. I need to hurry up. Do you know the biggest problem with this mindset? And nobody ever tells you this. Okay. Everybody says, don't rush because, and then they don't have a real reason. Be patient, but then they don't have a real reason. And you think to yourself, am I just being patient for the sake of being patient? Why can I not be a 21-year-old multi-millionaire? Why can I not have all the money in the world? I will give you the exact answer now because I have done both. It comes down to decision making. Your decision making will impact where you end up in life. And when you're in a rush, and you like the quote is, it's taking a long time because you're in a rush. That's what this is all built around. And a lot of people don't understand this and why. But when you're in a rush in the early days and you're trying to make things happen now, guess what you do? You make short-term decisions. You make short-term decisions that could get results immediately, could make you a bit of money immediately, but then you just end up on the hamster wheel where you're just going and going and going and trying to replicate what's been done once by you last month and the next month and the next month. And what it ultimately does is long-term destroy the business. You end up getting greedy, you end up making poor decisions, you do stuff for profit, not for brands. That's when it starts messing you up. Same in your 9 to 5 job. You do things to, fire you forward quickly, short term and whatnot, and then they bite you in the arse later down the line because you need somebody who you fucked over. You know the saying, like, be careful who you trod on the way up because you might need them back on the way down. Like that's how so many people end up failing in life. That's how so many people's lives end up crumbling because they don't do it the right way. They don't do it in a structured way. I know many people that have made a quick buck and now they're in serious shit. Now they're in serious trouble. Or serious trouble is coming for them because they've done it the wrong way and you just can't do it that way. That's not how you build. That's not how you structure things. And it's very much because of the progression bias. They're thinking if I can make 100K, I can go and get a Lamborghini tomorrow on finance. You could, and you probably did. And that's amazing. I appreciate it. But what's going to happen in 5 years' time when you haven't actually built anything of worth? When your whole strategy to make money is to release another course and another course and another course. It's like spilling milk on your floor over and over and over again. And every single time you just put newspaper on top. It might work for a week or two and you might go, hey, that actually worked. Over the period of like 5 years, that floor is going to stink. That house is going to stink. You're going to have, you can have bugs all over the floor. You might even at some point, if it gets bad enough, have maggots. Do you know what I mean? It's going to get really, really bad. And in order to fix the problem immediately, you spill the milk, you get the mop out, you clean it properly, and you do it the right way, and then you start fresh. That's how you move forward in life. It's the same, but everybody's just trying to put paper over spilt milk. Everyone's trying to paper over the cracks, paper over spilt milk. It's a quick fix. It's a temporary fix. You see it in sports all the time. How do we get back to the top? We have to buy this one player. It's like, no, you need a complete overhaul of everything that you're doing. Everything that you're doing is season to season. You need to be planning. Many think in decades are dangerous. I've been on record saying that for years. But I know where a lot of you guys are. I know where your mentality is. Whether you're 21, 24, 26, 28, whatever. You start panicking. You start going, I'm on this journey and I feel bad right now. And I'm only going to feel worse because I've been doing this now for 4 or 5 years and I haven't had results yet. So if I continue and I have another 4 or 5 years, I'm going to be 30 years old and broke. Possibly, yeah. But that's not a waste. That's not a waste. You've put 8 years into something that you've been working on for a long, long time that you believe in. To me, I've got a saying, which is if you've got good people working on the right thing with good intentions and truly putting the work in, how can it not go well? Do you know what I mean? If you've got good people with good intentions working towards a joint goal, how can it not go well? It might not go well in the first year. It might not go well immediately. It might not go well in 10 years. But if you have a plan, you think it's the right thing to do, and you've got a goal to see that through, and you've got the right people with you, and you're the right person, and you have good intentions. I'm not a religious man, but I just don't see how that doesn't pay off. I don't see how karma, I don't see how the world doesn't lean your way at some point. It might make you suffer because there's lessons that you have to learn along the way before you can make that breakthrough where you truly appreciate it. But every step of the journey is either a learning curve or a moment for growth. Something that you had to change, something that you had to realize before you went forward and did the next thing. It's always the same way, and it's never wasted time. But it's just because you're in such a rush, because the things you want right now, you think you'll want forever, but you won't. You won't want them. You'll be in your 30s, you'll be in your 40s. Let's say you're 42 years old, and you were stressed at 25 at not becoming successful. And at 45, you've got 3 kids and a beautiful wife and a house. And the things that you wanted to buy at 25 to become successful for, you don't want them anymore. And you sit there one day and you look at your beautiful family, you give your wife a kiss, and you just look at it and you look at everything that you've built and you go, thank God I didn't get rich when I was 25, because I would have spent all of that money on Lamborghinis, crap. I maybe would have done drugs, and I probably would have settled down with the wrong woman. I am so glad I had to learn those lessons and become who I am now, because I made some very good choices in my later years, and I am so grateful for the life I have today, and I wouldn't change it for the world. That's the future that you guys need to align yourself with. Okay, I know exactly where you are. I know the stresses that you have in your life. I know how hard it is at times to think that I'm 5 years in, and if it's another 5 years, I'm going to be 30 and broke. It's only getting worse every single year. Nothing seems to be getting better. Do I just pull the plug, cut my losses, and go and get a normal job? Do I cut my losses and go and get a slightly different job? Do I go down a different career path that gives me instant money now? Do I just leave? You know, you're trying to become a doctor and you're 5 years in and you're just like, this is rough. Like everyone around me is buying stuff, everyone's enjoying stuff, everybody's having the time of their life. I'm having to reinvest money, pay off all these bills that I incurred from university and whatnot, all these, all these late nights, all these early mornings. Like, is it even worth it? It is 5 years later. Okay, you'll be thanking yourself. You'll be like, I'm so grateful I did what I did. Because if you had just copped out, if you had just said, you know what, I'm just going to go and get a sales job and I'm going to just make 30, 40,000 per year. And it's going to be less hours and I'm going to have a better life and I can go out partying with my friends and I can watch all the sports matches and whatnot. Yes, you might. And you might do that for a year. You might do that for 2. You might do it for 3. But when year 5 comes around and you realize you would have been qualified by now, believe me, it sucks. Because I did it. I did it. Getting to that 6-month period and realizing, hey, do you know what? I would have been qualified by now. I was too young to realize how much of a lesson that was. Until years later, it really hit me. I was like, okay, there's no better time than the present. There is no better time to take risks than when you're young. There's no better time to reinvest in yourself when you're young, because everything that you think matters at 25 won't mean shit by probably 30. I mean, I'm 32. I don't even care what I was doing at 27. 28 was probably the first day of my life when I actually really got to work and started seeing results in things. Before that, I put in probably, I mean, if I started when I was 19, maybe like 8 years. I probably put in 8 years of just fluff. Not a lot really going anywhere. You know, some money coming in, more money going out. I've got debts and bills and stuff like that. But those skills that I acquired allowed me to get to where I am today. And they continue to feed me today. There's a big difference there, guys. And hopefully this helps a few of you that are in your 20s right now that are struggling, even in your 30s. You're in the journey right now. Like, this is it. You're in the game. You're in, like, this is when you have to just work and make something happen. You can't just have the results instantly. This is the story that you will tell people in 10, 15 years time. These are the stories that you will pass, or the lessons you will pass down to your sons and daughters and say, this is the struggle that you will be going through. Like, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be easy. You're going to owe people money. You're going to be in debt. You're going to be in a shitty situation. You're going to get your heart broken. You're going to feel very lonely. You're going to be coming off the back of a 16-hour shift and you get home and there's nobody waiting for you at home and you just slump on your bed and you just go, what am I doing all this for? Why am I bothering? And you'll look out your window and you'll see people out partying, enjoying themselves, driving past in a nice loud car with a big exhaust. And you'll be thinking, I remember those days when I was a kid, things were simpler. I wonder if I go back to school. Wonder if I can reach out to my ex. Wonder if I can reach out to some old friends. I preferred who I was back then. You're halfway down the rabbit hole. You've got to go forward. You've got to go forward. With no knowledge that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, you've just got to keep going forward because you're already too far into the game. You know, the game, the match, the boxing fight is kicked off. You know, you're in a fight and you're in round 6. You've just ended round 6, you're sat on your stool, and you're about to come out for 7, and you go, I've been getting my ass beat for 6 rounds. This guy, I think he's better than me. I don't want to do another 6 rounds. But you have to, because there's a chance that he'll get tired. There's a chance that in the second half of the fight, you will take over. And that's all it ever is. If you can just last the storm, if you can just weather the storm, if you can just stay on your feet, and you become the last man standing, if you're the one who can have the push towards the end in the last 6 rounds, that's where the winning is done. That's where everything comes together. Don't be worried about the person who starts early. Don't be worried about, you look at a 200-meter race, the person who's in lane 8 when the gun goes off is leading the race. By the bend, and that's what I'm talking about, the rabbit hole, as you come around that bend and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, the finishing line. By the time you get to the bend, that's when you realize, I'm actually in a great position here. I've actually caught up with everybody else and I'm flying here. I'm perfectly positioned to take this race, to take the top spot. I'm going to end up finishing this as first. It's not how it starts. It's how it builds throughout your life. It's how it rewards your life. You know, your business, your 9 to 5 job, that's your career. Like, that is your life. That's the years that you're going to be living through. You can't just ignore them and be like, I can't wait to finish. Because when you finish, you're going to sit there and go, what now? So like, while you're in this pocket, know that you're building a story, know you're building a narrative, know you're building the man. You're building the character that will pay off that later down the line. And it might suck for 10 years, 15 years, whatever. But at the end of all of that, when you're sat there with everything that you ever wanted, you'll be, number one, a lot more grateful. Number two, a lot more appreciative of everything. And number three, you'll realize why you didn't get that money early. You'll realize why you didn't get that success early. Because right now it means so much more to you and you can do a lot more with it than you ever would have at 21. I would have killed myself at 21. I would have probably got into drugs, drink, partying. I would have got 3 or 4 of the wrong women pregnant. Now I'm in a position in life where I'm a lot more level-headed. I know what I want. And I'm actually very grateful that I had to struggle to get to the point I am at today. I hope this helps some of you guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. Thank you for watching, guys. If you made it this far, I have my own supplement that I created for men. It ticks every single box that a man needs to get through modern day life. I know it's difficult. It's got every single ingredient you need to be able to manage the early mornings, late starts, working on things, the stress, the gym, the recovery, the libido, everything that comes with that. And they are now back on the market. They arrived today, so I will be shipping them out to everybody now. I take them myself every single day. We've sold over 22,000 units since we began, so if you want to check them out, the link is below. And anybody who's in the school community gets a heavy discount, so you choose what you want to do, and I'll speak to you guys soon.